My name is Sylvester Nandi-Esom, the National Executive Secretary to the National Commercial Tricycle Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association.
Okay. You are aware of the challenges facing the association right now. The government has come out to ban the motorcycle riders across the nation due to the increase in crime, considering the fact that part of the criminality in the country is traceable to Okada riders. What is your perspective?
Well, thank you so much for that question. Government in itself is a social contract that was established between people and those in government to give them protection in the area of security, in the area of social welfare, infrastructure, etc. So if government have failed in their own way, they look for places to rob what is supposed to be their responsibility into the less privileged category of people in our society. The reason why I say this is this. The government over time have in so many ways underlooked the components of security. They have underrated the aspect of security, of properties and lives, especially in Nigeria. And now, the things they are underrated is coming to their doorsteps. Out of fear, they're now bringing out all kinds of stories like Okada riders and all what have you. You recall that we've had serious challenges with the insecurity issues in Nigeria. It started with taxi, one chance. They robbed this person here, there was armed robbery here. They did not ban taxis. We left taxis. Boko Haram started their activities. They did not ban the sale of ammunitions. How did these criminals get these ammunitions? Nobody mentioned it. The fact that we do not have borders in Nigeria is a problem already because this ammunition were smuggled into this country. We do not manufacture them. People bring them into the country as part of their businesses. They do not ban the smuggling of those ammunitions. They do not ban those trading in such businesses. Now that the criminality has increased in our society, the government, because the mechanism that happened in Abuja Kuje prison was assigned to be with Okada, and so therefore they say they are banning Okada. Now my question is, if you ban Okada today, what is the alternative you prepared for? What are the mechanisms in place you've put to checkmate these excesses of insecurity? Because as far as we are concerned, we are an association, constitutionally enshrined. We are registered with CAC with approximately 14 million members. So if you ban Okada for the reason that the criminalities are being carried out by Okada, now the issue is this. They will have Okada in different segments. There's commercial purpose, that's our members. There's private Okada. There's one that they are using these days now for delivery. There are teachers that have done empowerment. Government have done empowerment for teachers, and they have Okada. There are staff of the civil service, in states especially. The members of national assemblies have done series of empowerment, giving Okada. And you are now come to ban Okada. This is what they used to empower the people, and you want to disempower them. Let me give you, for instance. Let's say 10% of 14 million is about 1.4 million, right? Let's say, okay, let's take 1% of the 14 million. Let's say 140,000 people. 1%. If 1% of this population, 140,000 people, decide to carry out these criminal activities, will any of you walk on the street? That's the basic question. So you cannot say because they use 300 motorbikes that are not registered with our association, and then you use that as a medium to ban the livelihood of 14 million registered members. I'm not talking about the unregistered. Police also use Okada to do their personal business after close of work. As we speak now, members of ASU are now using Okada to survive because there's no salary. They have been on strike. How would you now ban Okada? Because some elements uses it to carry out some irregular activities in our society. Why haven't we banned the government? Because of some element of criminalities and corruption that we've experienced. Those are the things we need to look at. What are the implications? First, if you ban the 14 million people, this is not their wife, not their children. These are the registered members. If you ban them from operating, what is the implication? They need to ask that question first. We need to know the implication, the impact on the society. There are places that the people roasting corn, every day they will park with their vehicles to buy corn and eat. Those corns are not manufactured at the backyard. They go to farms to bring them. Who brings them? It's Okada. All the vegetables you see in all the markets, they go to farm to bring them. Who brings them? It's Okada. When you ban, see, let's look at it. When you ban, you are causing starvation in the country. You are causing hunger, poverty, abject poverty, and people will die. It's a genocide.
Okay, sir. Yeah, a follow-up to the question he just that you have just answered very, very well. We understand that the crimes which is in place now can clearly be traced to this. Most of them are not your members, but of course they use motorcycle to commit some of these atrocities within FCT, within other states. Now, do you have a mechanism in which you check these commercial motorcyclists, those your members, to ensure that there is no infiltration from the criminal elements into it, or some of them, or even some of the members going into crimes using those motorcycles?
Before delving into your question, when Chibok girls were adopted, they used more than 50 Toyota Hilux. When Dapchi girls were adopted, they didn't use Okada. All the school adoption did not use Okada. Have you banned Toyota? Have you banned any vehicle that they used to carry out those criminal activities? Now, that is one. But coming to us, we understand the elements of government. We understand that government is seen as a system, a whole system, in which there are subsystems. Now, political parties, other associations are part of the system. The government itself is not a government on its own. It's part of the system. We are all running on a moving wheel. The tires, the car, and all of that come together to function. Now, we, on the part of the association, who have studied the government, will realize that, look, they are lacking so many things. And then we are coming in with our mechanism. First is that we used to have this estimated number. We know that Nigeria is a country without data. And we have deemed it within ourselves that it's important to do data validation. Not just data, but adequate data validation with biometrics. This is an activity or a project that no association in the country, in Africa, have ever embarked on. So we've been able to purchase a lot of infrastructure in terms of mobile devices to capture and profile our members. We'll take their names, their family members, wives, children, where you stay, address, your valid ID card, and then take their picture to capture this exercise. This is the exercise we are going into. All the mechanisms are in place. Now, apart from this, we are also setting up a national call center. If If you go to the back of the office, it's set up there. National Call Center. Why? Because once we carry out this data validation and we know the adequate number we have as our situation, we are going to use our member because we are going to train them in two perspectives. The first training will be, we are training them against illicit drugs and substance abuses. That is one. And that is why we are calling on support of government to intervene, so that for us to give them this training. That is one. Two, we also want to train them how to, provide, security warning, early warnings, to the government, to security agencies. We tried this before by telling them to report any criminality activities to the police. But when they report to police, we find out that the people sometimes get key because somehow the information gets to the people that this is the person that reported them. So that call center will serve as a central point. Whenever there's a crime somewhere, they will call us to that call center. We will be the one at this point to report to the police, because so that we will hide the identity of the person who see where the crime is being taken place. So those are the mechanisms we are putting in place to support government in the fight against, this insurgency. That is what we can offer at best. But the government should not just get down and say ban, because if you ban, you are causing more insecurity in the name of fighting security.
Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria seems to have made up its mind, but the banning of Okada is a policy issue. If the government decides to go ahead, what is the option on the table before this decision? Is it a legal issue or is it negotiation? Share your opinion.
Okay, thank you. I like the fact that you said the government have made up their mind and it is a policy issue. You see, policy statement is just one of those ingredients of policy making. It's not an end in itself. It's a process. So they have made a policy statement. They have made so many policy statements. There's a policy that CBN came with that died on arrival. So we are looking at this one as part of those policies that will die on arrival, because with the effort we are making, we see that government will appreciate it more. Do you know why a crime can no longer happen in Rwanda after the genocide? Because Rwanda have devoted 40% of our population to be security, intelligence gathering. And that is why we are offering the government for free that we are going to use our resources, the manpower that we have, as intelligence gathering for them. But we can only report those intelligence in the central points, which is our call center, so that the identity of the person reporting the case will be protected from these criminal elements. So, though government has not invited us for discussion, other alternative is being in place or negotiations, but what we know is that we've not answered them yet. We were only invited for media chat. But we're making our own effort so that by the time they come, we will tell them, this is what we've been able to do so far. What have you done? Bring our own to the table. Let's see how we can address this issue once and for all. But for now, we've not received anything from government, and government have not invited us for any discussion. And so we keep working, behind the scene to ensure that we do perform our full responsibilities. Let us see who will fail. Then if we do our own part and they insist that they want to ban, then we may need to take the necessary action. And that can only be determined by the time and the circumstances. And to do now, like I told you, we're embarking on data validation. And that data validation is not just data, it's adequate data. Because by the time we capture all the information, the system will automatically generate a unique ID for the rider. That unique ID will come with a QR code. Maybe the next time you will come here, we'll demonstrate so that you will see. It will come with a QR code. And that QR code will also be printed as a sticker as a sticker to be pasted on the Okada and Keke, and the QR code will also be printed as a reflective jacket, so that you want to board Keke or Okada, you can, for security reason, you scan and check, is it the same person that you are seeing there, the information? Those are the things we are doing. So by the time we start this process, you will see other small groups that are trying to break away from the mother association will come back, because that is the only way we can ensure that our members are protected and the security challenges are addressed.